Hi, I just wanted to pop in really quickly to talk about everything that's going on with agent commissions and buyer's representation. The reason I wanted to pop on here to say something is because I've been seeing so much misinformation coming out of the mainstream media. And quite honestly, it's really frustrating and it's doing a disservice to you guys, the public, and especially buyers. Buyers should have their own representation. The way they're making it sound now and the way people are freaking out is that people are believing that buyers will no longer have representation because they will have to pay out of pocket to have an agent, and so a lot of buyers won't be able to afford that, and so they think that they will go on their own, contacting the seller's agent directly and trying to negotiate with the seller's agent. But keep in mind that seller's agent is representing the seller. And that seller's agent's fiduciary duty is to their client, the sellers. So this whole settlement is really unfortunate for buyers, especially first-time home buyers, because now they are trying to enter a difficult market. I'm in Escondido, San Diego County. This is a hot seller's market and it's very competitive. And right now we're seeing multiple offers again on properties. And so if you're a newbie buyer with no agent to guide you, you're going to have a hard time winning over all the other buyers that have agents. So I've been hearing from the mainstream media a lot of misinformation like, uh, sellers didn't know what they were paying, that what they were paying to the buyer's agent. That's not true. When a seller signs a contract with a listing agent, that's an agent that represents the sellers, in the contract, it specifically shows the commission that the listing agent will be requiring to do the job to sell the home. And in that same contract, right below that, or just a few paragraphs below that, actually, there's another section that says how much that agent, the listing agent, will co-op, how much they will split their commission with the co-op buyer's agent from that commission. So the sellers are very aware where that commission is going, how it's going to break down. Now they are aware again before closing because sellers and buyers both receive estimated closing statements and the final closing statements. These closing statements show for the seller side all the debits for the seller and all the credits for the seller. So everything that the seller had to pay for and then everything that the seller's going to get. So they see there that the commission was split to the two agents. And that's through escrow, and they sign off on that. So, this whole idea that the mainstream media is pushing, and this NAR settlement was pushing, that the sellers don't know, didn't know that they were paying a buyer's agent, is simply not true. The other point that I wanted to make that the mainstream media is saying, and it's very frustrating, they're writing headlines and talking standard 6% commission. They say things like sellers no longer require, no, sorry. It says this article I found on, I think it was CNBC. It said the headline read like this: sellers no longer forced to pay the standard 6% commission. Now, I have two issues with that headline. One, nobody forces a seller to hire a specific agent and pay them a specific commission. And second, 6% commission is not standard. Commissions are not standards. They're not set by anybody. It's all negotiable. So there's no such thing as a 6% standard commission. That's another lie that the mainstream media is saying. Now, in this area, in this part of the country, I've been seeing commissions, not standard, but most commonly seen throughout the board is anywhere between 4, 5, 6. Now, I've also seen 3% commissions and I've seen 7% commissions. They're just not as common. The most common where it falls is between 4 and 5%. But that's just because of the competition. Because you have all these listing agents competing against each other. So maybe one of them, his fee is 5%. But this other one, he wants to get more business. So he'll be like, you know what? I'll do it for 4%. I'll do it for 3.5%. It's negotiable. So there's no such thing as a standard 6% commission. And there's no such thing as a seller being forced to pay it. The seller is very aware of how much he's paying from the very beginning and before he signs the contract. Okay. So here, let me show you what I'm saying. That the sellers are aware how much they're paying their agent, and they're also aware how much their agent is willing to pay a buyer's agent to bring in a buyer. So let's look at this. This is a California Association of Realtors exclusive authorization to right to sell residential listing agreement. So this is normally the agreement that listing agents work with. So let me just quickly show you that point that I'm trying to make. So on paragraph 3, compensation to brokers, very clear what that means. Notice the amount or rate of real estate commissions is not fixed by law. They're set by each broker individually and may be negotiable between seller and broker. Real estate commissions include all compensation and fees to broker. So here, it's not the standard 6%. So I already proved the first lie, right? That they're lying about the standard 6%. 3A, seller agrees to pay to broker as compensation for services irrespective of agency relationships. Either, I'm just pretending here, just put 10%, just to play around, okay? My fee is not 10%. So let me start again. Seller agrees to pay to broker as compensation for services irrespective of agency relationships, either 10% negotiable, right? I just read that, of the listing price, or if a purchase agreement is entered into, of the purchase price. Or it could also be a set value. You could have some agents work on limited service. What that means is they'll be like, you know what, Mr. Seller, I will put your house on into the MLS, but I won't do any showings. I won't schedule anything. You would have to schedule all the showings yourself. You would have to do all the marketing yourself. I'm just going to help you by putting the property in the MLS so other agents know it's available, because you want to attract as many buyers and buyer's agents, because buyer's agents have the buyers, and I'm going to show you guys in a minute the statistics to prove that. You want to attract the most amount of buyer's agents with buyers to see your home. But I'm not going to do anything else. Let's just assume you have a limited service broker and he's like, you know what? I don't charge a commission. I'll put it in the MLS and won't do any marketing, won't do scheduling, won't do showings, but I'll help you negotiate the offer once one comes in. But I'll do that for $4,000, right? That could happen. It's not common, but it could happen. It happens. So clear as day, clear as the water, or clear as whatever, you see right here, it's saying to the seller hasn't signed this, he's reading this before he signs this, that the commission is not fixed by law, it's negotiable, and the amount right here, the amount that the fee is going to cost them. Now, that's dispelling lie number 2 that the mainstream media is saying, that, oh my gosh, and actually the attorneys that representing these sellers saying that, oh my gosh, the sellers don't know what they're paying. They're forced to pay this. They're forced to pay 6%. The sellers are tight. It's not true. The sellers are smart. They do their research and they hire whoever they feel is best to do the job. And they know upfront how much that's going to cost them. Then we go down. Paragraph 3D. Okay, let's see what 3D says. Seller has been advised of broker's policy regarding cooperation with and the amount of compensation offered to other brokers. Pretty clear. Broker is authorized to cooperate with and compensate brokers participating through the multiple listing service, which is known as the MLS, by offering to MLS brokers out of broker's compensation specified in paragraph 3A. So let's go to 3A. Okay, so out of this compensation right here, either I just put 5. I did half. Okay, 5% of the purchase price, or if I'm one of those agents, I could be like, nah, I want to keep most of the money, so I'm just going to offer 4,000. Now, I wouldn't do this because this is not in the best interest to the seller. As a listing agent, a seller's agent, you're looking out for your seller. So I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend, at least half of what I'm going to earn for all the work I'm going to do and all the marketing I'm going to pay for and to promote your house. And as a listing agent, most agents do both. Sometimes they're listing agents, sometimes they're buyer's agents. So obviously a listing agent understands all the work and the effort that goes behind helping buyers buy a home. So I don't mind paying them. I know what they have to do in order to get their client's offer accepted and then push it through all the way to close of escrow. It's work. It's stressful. It's a huge responsibility. Now, are there some bad agents out there? Yeah, but there's also bad doctors and bad attorneys and bad restaurants. There's bad everywhere. So that's why you just have to do your due diligence and interview several agents. Perhaps, if you don't feel comfortable or confident that the agent that is sitting in front of you can do the job, then interview somebody else. Don't sign it. So then let's say I'm going to offer at least 5. I'll offer half. Seller's paying me 10. I'll offer half because I understand the value of the buyer's agent. Let me show you why I understand the value. Let's go to NAR statistics. This is a 2023 profile of home buyers and sellers. Now, the National Association of Realtors does this every year for I don't know how many years. They collect all of the statistics. So let's just jump right to it. 2023 profile of home buyers and sellers. The home search process. Check this out. 92% of recent buyers were at least somewhat satisfied with their recent home buying process. That's 92%. That's a lot of people that are satisfied. So yes, we do hear in the media or on the social media comments how horrible agents are, like the worst experience, but it's the minority by a lot. 92% of recent buyers were at least somewhat satisfied with their recent home buying process. Home buying and real estate professionals. 89% of buyers recently purchased their home through a real estate agent or broker, and 6% purchased directly through the previous owner. So 89% of buyers. So that means most buyers, if you're a seller right now, there's an 89% chance that that buyer is working with a buyer's agent and is coming in through a buyer's agent. Now, this 6% purchased directly through the previous owner, this is the for sale by owners, the people that are selling without an agent, which you could do. Actually, let me interject right here. That's another lie that I hear out there, that they're saying that sellers are forced to work with an agent. No, you're not. You could sell your house yourself. You don't need an agent. You just have to follow all the laws, though. And I'll show you how much for sale by owners get compared to working with an agent. They get less. And usually they work with someone they already know. So in all reality, the chances of you, seller, finding a buyer that's going to buy your house is going to be coming through a buyer's agent. So that agent works hard. and they need to be compensated. Nobody works for free. So let's go here to this one. 71% of buyers interviewed only one real estate agent during their home search. Guys, you could interview more. If you sit down with a buyer's agent, an agent that's going to represent you in purchasing a home, you need to have a meeting with them. Don't just call someone randomly, meet them at the house, which does happen a lot. It does happen. I mean, I've done it, and sometimes you just have to do it because people don't want to meet you, but it's not the best business practice. Don't just call someone, don't just randomly see a house on Redfin, Zillow, whatever, and click on it. And then you get some random agent calling you to show you this house. And then you just start working with them, not questioning anything. If you don't feel comfortable with that agent, if you don't have an agreement signed with that agent, if they're not meeting your expectations, fire them now. If you have a buyer broker agreements, if you have an agreement signed with them, then, the firing part might be a little trickier, but we'll get to that in a minute. So 71% of buyers interviewed only one real estate agent. 71. So most buyers are not interviewing other agents, but then later, because I hear them complain that their agent sucked. Nobody forced you to work with them. And if you're not in contract yet, look for somebody else. But, the best way to avoid all of that is when you're interested in buying a house, call up the agent. The agent should set up a meeting with you, either by Zoom or in person in their office, and go over what they're going to do for you, right? How they're going to work for you, how they work, what they're going to do for you, and the expectations. And if you like what you hear, then give them a shot and work with them. And they might ask you to sign an agreement with them. And if you feel comfortable that they can do the job, sign it. If not, don't sign it and just say, thank you for your time. We're going to consider, we're interviewing other agents. You should just be flat out, straight up. We're interviewing other agents. You should be able to say that, right? And you interview other agents. Okay, you're not tied down to any agent unless you've already signed a contract with that agent, and then you're tied down for that time of the contract duration. It says 90%, 90% of buyers would use their agent again or recommend their agent to others. You guys, that's a high percentage of satisfaction. Where do you see that in any other industry? So don't be fooled by the social media comments, people bashing agents, people recommending buyers don't use an agent, go directly to the listing agent, do it yourself. No, 90% of buyers would say use their agent again or recommend their agent. That means that there's only a few bad apples, okay? So I'm just saying, do your due diligence, do your research. You're not tied down to any agent unless, of course, you already signed a contract. And of course, there's ways to get out of that. So let's see what else. Let's continue. Oh, so let's just look for what are sellers looking for? 85% of sellers use an agent who provided a broad range of services and management of most aspects of the home sale. What that means is that 85% of sellers used a full service agent or a full service broker. Like I was showing you in the contract, you can get a limited service broker to work with you, and they might charge a lot less, but you're going to get a lot less service, and you're going to have to do a lot of the work that the agent isn't doing for you and a lot of the marketing. So most sellers don't want to deal with that because most sellers know that, or, they trust their agent, and most sellers do get more money working with an agent than not working with an agent. The typical seller has recommended their agent once since selling their home. 87% said that they would definitely, 87% said that they would definitely or probably recommend their agent for future services. So 73% said definitely, and then 14% said probably. So again, 87%. So that's a high number. 87% of sellers are happy with the services they got. Now remember, like what I said earlier, I don't know if I've said it already, you do not pay the agents until the job is done. So if you're a seller, you don't pay the agent until your home is sold, right? And if you're a buyer, you don't pay, well, you don't pay. But right now things are changing, okay? So, it's still changing and things are changing. And I could get into more detail about how that's going to affect you if you're a buyer or especially a first-time home buyer. It just would be a longer video, but if you want a quick chat or to meet with me and just go over that, we could do that. No obligation, no problem. Let's just look at for sale by owners. The majority for sale by owners, 57%, just barely over the majority, knew the buyer of the home. For sale by owners typically sell for less than the selling price of other homes. For sale by owner homes sold at a median of 310,000 last year. This is national numbers, okay? This is not San Diego. Significantly lower than the median agent assisted homes at 405,000. Okay. Now I wanted to see the one where okay, here it is. I was looking for this one. 81% of recent sellers contacted only one agent before finding the right agent they worked with to sell their home. So buyers and sellers are doing this where they're only interviewing one agent, the majority, okay? Almost 3/4, if not higher. So you need to interview another agent if you're not happy with the one in front of you. If you're not happy with what they're offering, what they say they're going to do for you, with their price or their fee, then you could interview other agents. Nobody's stopping you. So you don't have to sign anything if you don't feel that the agent that's in front of you is going to do the work the way you want it. So this whole thing from the mainstream media is just a little too much. I know it's all confusing out there. What in the mainstream media isn't helping, and the people in social media making comments that don't know what they're talking about isn't helping. So I want you guys to get the factual information. So if you are a first-time home buyer, a buyer, or a seller, and you just want the facts, you just want to understand what's going on, what the process is going to be looking like moving forward. If you are a first-time home buyer or a buyer and you're worried that you're not going to be able to afford to have your own representation, don't worry about it. There's ways around that where we can arrange it so that you still don't have to pay for that commission. That now the main changes we're seeing is that the listing agent, the seller's agent, the one that collects the compensation, is no longer going to be able to share that into the MLS starting sometime in July, okay, of this year. The other change is that if you are a buyer's agent and you want to cooperate with that listing agent that's offering a compensation, then you have to have a buyer broker agreement in place with your clients. And there's other stuff. Right now, business is as usual. Things are happening as usual. Many agents are still going to want to share their part of the commission with a buyer's agent because, as we just saw, in the statistics, they know that most, I think it was what, 89% of buyers are working with buyer's agents. So if I'm an agent representing a seller and I'm looking out for their best interest, I want them to get the most amount of money for their home, and I want to sell it quickly, efficiently, and with the least amount of hassles. I want to offer that compensation to buyers agents that have most of the buyers are ready, willing, and able to buy. So that was all. I just needed to make this video because it was getting a little frustrated watching the news and the information and all the misinformation. But I'm here to help you guys. If you have any questions, if you're concerned, if you're a first-time home buyer, a buyer, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I thought of buying maybe at the end of the year, and how is this going to affect me? Am I able to buy a house now? How am I going to afford my own agent? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it in the sense that give me a call, send me a message, and we could jump on a quick 15-minute call or however it takes. And I can explain it more into detail how this is going to affect you. Now, if you're a seller and you're also like confused about it all, like you're like, well, then I don't have to, then, what are the commissions? Am I just going to pay 1%, 2%? Am I saving money? Am I paying for the buyer? Like there's just so much confusion. So if you're a seller and if you have questions, you just want to go over like how this might affect you. You're a seller that's not under agreement, right? Like you're someone that's thinking about selling your house, but now you're just like on the fence because you're like, I don't know how this is going to affect me. Also, give me a call, send me a DM, and I would be happy to go over how it's going to affect you and your ability to sell your house, and just clarify the misinformation that's out there. So anyways, I hope you're having a great day, and I hope that this video helped. I don't know if it did, but I will see you soon, or I'll see you later. Bye.